Horizon truly straddles itself between two worlds, a fledgling human race whose search for answers and purpose created unique cultures and spiritual beliefs, all while in the great towering shadow of the wondrous crumbling civilization that came before. Though these two eras are vastly different from one another, there is one similarity that remains remarkably unchanged between the 21st and 31st century, and that is language. The driving force for this is principally to make the player's immersion as seamless as possible, but due to the developer's attention to detail, it's given explanation in the lore of the game. The principal reason that those in Horizon's present speak English is that early childhood development and education, including language, was a function of Gaia's subfunction Eleuthia, not Apollo, thus saving this specific knowledge from the actions of Ted Faro. This means that the first generation released from Cradle facilities were fluent English speakers. However, this similarity in our spoken language does not carry over into Horizon's written language. This alteration in the English alphabet most likely came as a byproduct of the passage of time. Language in our own history has often and naturally morphed and changed due to many historical factors. This then leaves the question of why didn't spoken language change as well? This was luckily explained during an interview with the game's narrative director, John Gonzalez. People throughout the game world are speaking English, and many can read and write it, just not with our alphabet. The glyph language that the Carja created encodes English, it just uses a different set of symbols to do so. Obviously, this is a point where we took a looser approach to the science fiction of Horizon's world. In reality, if people started off speaking 21st century American English hundreds of years ago, their language would have morphed into something very different by the time Aloy's story begins. Just compare medieval English with the English we speak in our time. But I didn't see much value in honoring those linguistic realities. The world of the game was already exotic in many respects. We didn't want to make it less accessible by forcing players to get used to new dialects. So I decided to fudge it and have the characters speak the same language, whether they're in the ancient past or the tribal present. We still created new metaphorical language to infuse dialogue with some cultural flavor of the New World's tribes, but in all other respects, we erred on the side of accessibility. Some of these include words like Warwick or Sundom, indeed giving added texture to this familiar yet foreign world. It should be noted, as explained by John, that Aloy can read the 21st century English alphabet. Since she discovered her focus as a young girl, she became literate in the ancient language. This because the focus is able to analyze and translate whatever the localized or regional language is into 21st century English, providing a proverbial Rosetta Stone to our young protagonist. Though I feel the choices made to make the game more accessible in favor of realism were ultimately the right call, it's wonderful to know that this was a conscious, well-weighed decision, with real historical references at its heart. And that brings this chronicle to a close. If you'd like to see more content like this, likes and shares are always appreciated, and if you really like what we're doing at the channel, come join our community and hit that subscribe button. Also consider supporting the channel on Patreon to help us create new series and to supply more quality content just like this. Check out the link in the description. And if you have a great idea or interesting question that could lead to our next episode, let us know in the comments down below, and until next time, thanks for watching and keep questing.